New Year's resolutions are dead. They have gone the way of the dodo bird. They're like the lost city of Atlantis. Sounds really awesome, but no one's actually seen it. New Year's resolutions are like the lost city of Pompeii. They're awesome. They have all this grandeur and magnificence, full of vibrancy, wealth, and grandeur, only to go down in a ring of fire before Valentine's Day. The problem with New Year's resolutions are this: that they're based on goals, but not actions. Things like read more books, lose weight, eat better, especially eat better. Many of us are in about our third box of Christmas tree cakes this time of year, but those goals don't have anything to do with actually building that ideal life that you want. So join me in my eulogy of the New Year's resolution as I talk about the actions that I'm doing heading into the new year. Comment down below what your actions are. What are you actually doing this year to move the needle in your life? What is your plans of action? So these are 5 things I'm doing right now. I'm thinking about them. I'm acting now. I'm taking action. The 5 things: I'm waging war on busy by being intentional. 2, I'm reviewing last year. 3, I'm taking big risk. And 4, I'm taking my health seriously this year. And 5, I'm building meaningful relationships and to help you navigate through building an action plan for your life. So waging war on being busy. How many times have you asked somebody, "Hey, how are you?" and they just say busy? Or how many times have you replied, "Oh, I've been really busy lately." Well, with what? What does that even mean? What does busy mean? I mean, just the way the fundamental nature of time is that your time gets filled, whether you're doing things you want to be doing or not, or doing dumb stuff like being on YouTube all day. The time gets filled up, and then you die. But what we need to do is to move and be intentional. That's how I'm waging war. Is I'm being super intentional this year. I'm getting things on the calendar that I want to be doing. But first off, I'm looking at my life through frameworks and through systems. I'm looking at the areas that I want to improve or set a goal. I had a friend of mine. She had this awesome framework that she told me about, and I've really taken that and I've taken the action and started going through. And the way this framework works is that you have your life broken out into different categories. So there's spiritual, physical, emotional, financial, and each of these categories in your life, you go and break that down with an anchor, an aim, and an action. So what this is, the anchor is your why. Why is what is why are you focusing on your financial? And for me, I bring in a scriptural basis, a biblical basis. Like, what is the scripture? What does the Bible say about my health? What does the Bible say about my finances? And then second is the aim, which is an identity statement. It takes on an identity of, I'm a person that does blank. I'm a person that eats healthy, first, let's say. And then the last thing is the action. How do you take this goal, this anchor and this aim of where you want to go, and how do you put this into a day-to-day action? This it reminds me of like an archer. An archer has an anchor on their face, on their bow, and then they aim at the target. And then as they're locked into that anchor position, they have an action with just a little action with their hand, and then that release will go and the arrow will hit its mark. And that's just a beautiful picture of what this is, because the smallest movement of that daily action is what releases that arrow to hit its target. And you have to take this overarching framework and these goals, and you have to put it into actions, into your calendar and into your budget. And if you say that something's important to you and you don't put your time and your money to it, you're just lying to yourself. The things that we value, we put our time, we put our energy, our emotions, our money into that. That's how you move the needle. And so that overarching framework, we're going to funnel that down into, I'm funneling that down in my life to a yearly and monthly planning, and then to weekly and daily. I'm taking that complex thing of a get wealthy, let's just use that one, and taking that big, complex, audacious goal and putting it down to the simple things of what can I do day to day. Just practically, what I'm doing is getting with my wife, my family, and we're blocking things in for the year and for the month. Are we perfect at this? No way, but we're getting better. And here's the thing with the goals and with the way that we plan and that you plan, you have to make it specific to you, because I've tried different daily planners. I've tried people's systems where it's down to the hour planning, but that just doesn't work for me. It drives me crazy to have like, oh, in 2 minutes I have to start this thing or I've failed the day. But for me, if I block times off, it works better for me. I'll say, okay, I'm blocking off. Here's my daily plan. Here's what I want to accomplish for this day. And what I'll do is I have a list of tasks for the week. I have my strategy for the week, and I'll use those tasks and that strategy to funnel into what I'm actually doing day to day. I'd say you got to start small sometimes. Sometimes it just takes that okay, I want to read more books. Well, start reading one word out of a book today, and that's it. Just try to do one word. It's actually kind of hard to do just one word. So you have to remember that this, looking at your life through intention and strategy, it's a long game. Like, we're playing a long game here. These new habits, the new things we're trying to form, the new daily goals and vision, they just don't happen overnight. It's gonna take some time, and that's okay. Like, give yourself some grace if you're failing at this. Get back on it. Just keep it an actionable thing. Put those things that matter to you on the calendar. The second thing I'm doing right now is I'm reviewing last year. I'm looking at what are my great wins of last year, what are my losses, and then how do I learn from all these things, the wins and the losses. A lot of times we go through a whole year, especially if we're really in the trenches, engaged, and we forget some of the great things that happen and how far ahead of where we were last year at this time and where we're at this year. And then just look at what are the positive things and what are the negative things that happen and what you did. So just keep doing more of the positive things, and then ruthlessly cut the negative things. Cut the things out that aren't helping you get to your goals. Tim Ferriss has a year interview strategy he just posted, where he just has a simple sheet of paper and he'll go positive on one side, negative on one side, and have the columns there. And it's like, if you went on an awesome trip to the beach, to like Florida this year, well, then schedule it again. Schedule it for next year, or the mountains, or whatever you like to do. Whatever is going to be, whatever means the best life for you. And if you can't afford these things, then can you go and schedule it 2 years from now, and then put the action in your budget to go ahead and start saving for these things? What I would do is just put a separate account without a card or check or anything like that, and then automatically shift money from your main account every month. Automatically shift it to an account that's going to save up for these things that are going to be those things that bring you the most joy, fulfillment in life. Those things that are really important. It's like, have you ever seen the teaching thing where you have the glass jar, and then you put the big rocks in, and you say, is it full? And then no. And then you put sand in it. Is it full? No. And then you put the water in it. Well, what we want to do is to make sure we have as many big rocks, those big, like, awesome things that are like really bringing us that fulfillment, which are really like bringing our family closer together. They're good for your own mental health, all those things. Bring those in and make those the foundational within your action. And so a big focus for me this last year was my mental health and spiritual health. I had a lot going on throughout the middle of the summer and the early last year. I was finishing up a master's program. I had big shifts in work, just a lot of things, and those things that were on the work side were really pulling me from the family side, and then I would get short a little bit with my family, and then spiritually I was getting strained. So I was kind of up and down spiritually. It would be spiritually dry sometimes, and then other times I wouldn't be. But it kind of all came to a head at one point. All these deferred things that I was doing, that was like even things like maintenance around the house, and it was like all these things kind of came due at one time, and then I just found myself just in like not the best mental state, not the best spiritual state, and I wasn't being the man God was calling me to be to myself, to my family, to those around me. And so what did I do? I fought back just inch by inch. The biggest thing I did that I implemented last year, and it's really been cool to look back on this, is very simple. It's just I take my first 30 minutes of the day, and it's like non-negotiable, and I just go and pray and read the word. The Bible is it's a living thing. It brings life. It renews your mind. So take that time out and make that time that for you to renew yourself, to renew your mind, and make it a non-negotiable. The third thing I'm doing is taking risk this year. One of my weaknesses, my big weaknesses is doubt, like negative self-talk. I have this internal dialogue sometimes that it comes up, and there's doubt, there's I would say fear of like, you're not good enough, you don't know enough to do this kind of thing, and how I'm fighting this is through taking risk. I'm putting myself out there. I find that as I put myself out there, and then I kind of prove to myself, oh man, you can do this thing. Like, you have what it takes. You have the knowledge, and you know what? If you don't, then you figure it out. Like, everybody sucked at one time. This podcast, this video, this is me taking risk. I know this is not the best video that I'm ever gonna make. It's not the best video you ever watched probably today, but that's okay, because the sooner you start sucking at something and you do better and you learn, this is the best way to learn, then you could be great one day. And if you're not great, then at least you've learned more stuff. You can go on and do other things. But through taking those risks, I challenge you guys to take the risk this year and see how it works out, and see how you actually go and win, and you build this history of wins in your life. And at least if you're like, well, that wasn't for me, then so what? You got through the hardest part. The hardest part is starting. Like, I have a real estate portfolio, and the hardest part was starting that real estate portfolio. Ed Mylett said in a recent podcast that you build self-confidence by minimizing the impact of self-doubt and negative thoughts through building that history of wins and taking massive action. So it's easy to not start. It's much easier just to stay comfortable, go eat your other box of Christmas cake cookies. Man, there's like the best ones. Way easier to do that. Way harder to take a risk and put yourself out there, or to take steps, to take actions towards your goals. People might think you're crazy. It's okay. It's time we get addicted to the process and the actions. Number 4 is I'm taking my health seriously. Like, I know this isn't one of those SMART goals you heard about, but hey, this is my thing. All right, this isn't a New Year's resolutions. This is me internalizing stuff into actions. And how am I taking my health seriously? Well, I'm planning out my nutrition. I'm getting a strategy down on paper for my nutrition. And I'm going to stop sabotaging myself. I self-sabotage myself. If you self-sabotage, if you do good with your diet all throughout the week and you get through the weekend, well, guess what? You just lost 104 days a year, plus your holidays. You lost 104 days a year of nutrition because you ate like crap on the weekend. You ate the cake. and it's not eating the cake. It's like, well, what's after the cake? Then you have alcohol, and then you have another cake, and then you have French fries, and then next thing you know, you're like the next day the same thing. So you have the 104 days you've lost plus holidays because it's Christmas time. You got to eat the cookies on Christmas time. But then it's New Year's, and then you get back from New Year's, and then you got lunch with your coworkers, and then birthdays and office parties. Then someone bringing in a special cake, and you have to eat. You have to eat the special cake that Becky brought. How can you not eat Becky's cake? It's her specialty. It's her special cake. You're disrespecting Becky by not eating her cake. And but this is the wrong way to look at it. Like, it goes back to the identity statement. Like, I know you guys know there's somebody in your life that it's like, if you offered them a donut, you already know the answer because they're not the type of person that eats a donut or eats cake. Like, it's not worth it. Vacations are huge. Like, we gotta stop gaining 10 pounds on vacation, with whether it's through the food we're eating, alcohol, sleep. Like, vacations, listen, does this sound nice to you? It might. But a vacation where I gain 10 pounds, and if I'm hungover, and I'm sleep deprived, and tired, and then you got diarrhea because you ate bad and you had too much alcohol, that's like a terrible vacation. Like, that doesn't sound fun. Then you can't go out the next day and go parasailing, or you can't do fun activities or things that are like really that rich life things of you can't go learn how to kiteboard if you feel like crap. And then you're halfway through your kiteboarding lesson, and then you pass out in the water, and then they have to go drag you back on the back of the Sea-Doo because you couldn't make it through the kiteboarding lesson. It's not a good vacation. I want to take out the emotion out of eating. I'm an emotional eater. I'm recovering. I want to start with, how will I feel from this eating? How is this going to fuel me? Is it going to make me feel better? I'm making plans that work for me. I don't enjoy doing the counting every single calorie. But I think in the beginning, maybe it's beneficial to say, to count your calories in and out, just so you can see, okay, like what does a 500 calorie meal look like? What does this look like? And then how can I get to that calories in, calories out, and get to that deficit to get to where I want in nutrition? Intermittent fasting might not work for you. Works for me. I love intermittent fasting. I hardly ever eat breakfast, but then my wife, she can't do that. She's got to eat. She gets hangry. You might have to adjust your plan as you go along, especially if you're beginning of nutrition. You've got to see what's going to work for you. And a workout. So the workout schedule, I've been getting really solid on my workout schedule. I shifted a few months ago, I shifted from doing like splits in my workout where I do arms one day and then like chest and back or legs one day, to where I do basically just total body every day. And I'll start off with whatever is like the weakest area that I'm trying to improve on. So whether that's your abs are probably a good area to start, because doing abs sucks. So if you do those in the beginning, then you can get the stuff that's more fun. Legs, if it's for you, if you got little pretzel legs, go start with some legs or calf raises. I don't have to do that. I got big legs. So if I skip leg day, well, I don't skip it because I do it every day. And then whenever life happens, which it will happen, then I don't have to think about, oh man, I've skipped leg day for 10 weeks in a row now. And then also I'm looking to formulate my my weekly cycle and include more activities like outside, like hiking with the family or walking. So I'm combining. I'm accomplishing two goals at one time. I'm getting that family time in, and I'm getting active time. And I'm also looking at sleep, get my sleep schedule solid, limiting my caffeine. Back whenever I was was getting my master's degree, and that whole situation happened, I I was up to like 2 pots of coffee a day. I was staying up so late, waking up early, and just medicating my poor sleep with caffeine. Are you medicating your poor sleep with caffeine? Because it's not good. I'm down. I was at 2 pots of coffee a day. That's a lot, but I would say that that was attributing 100%. That was attributing to more anxiety and more mental stress that I was in that time. But it was just really medicating to sleep. So I'm getting my sleep schedule solid now, and even on the weekends. That's the hard part. You want to stay up a little bit later on the weekends, and it's okay if it's a little bit off, but you shouldn't be going to bed every weekday at 10. Then the next thing you know, you're like going to bed at 3 a.m. on Friday night, Saturday night, and then it takes you by the time you get back to doing what you need to do on Sunday and Monday, you're in Tuesday. It takes you till Wednesday to recover from that, and it's not good for your work. It's not good for your family, because then you're tired and you're grouchy with your family. Then you growl at your kids, you growl at your wife. It's just not good. The fifth thing I'm doing is building meaningful relationships over this year, and I am starting with God first, and then with family. Like I said, I've got that habit of every single day, non-negotiable. I have a time of reading the Bible and praying, and I just found out that if my relationship with God's not solid, then all the other relationships are not solid. If my relationship with God's not solid, my relationship with my family is not solid. If my relationship with my family is not solid, then there's like no chance that I can have good, healthy relationships with anybody else. And these really close family unit relationships with God, and even those closest friends are foundational to every other relationship. And if these crumble because of whether that's compromise or infidelity with a partner, and the relationships you have outside of that, those people are going to start to question, who are you really? What is our relationship like? What does that even build on? So I'm stewarding the relationships I already have this year. If you're like me, I think most people, we only have very few close relationships, especially men. It takes a long time for us to take the shell off. We are good at hiding and not being open with other people, but I have a few like really close friends, and I'm in relationships, and I'm taking time to be intentional to build those, and realize that these won't be built by accident. They have to be built by intentionality, and I think some of this even is a little bit generational. I mean, it's not generational. It's especially with men. Like we're kind of a tough nut to crack most of the time. I think, but I think my dad's generation, as far as going into what we would say the real world, and it was a little easier. My dad's generation, they stop by and he'll stop by somebody's shop and see what they got going on. Just have a conversation with them. He's always going out to lunch with other people and stuff like that, which is really cool, because at least with the people my age and a little bit older, a little bit younger, it's like we've had so much going on with different things that there's not very much time where we're connecting with other men in any real way. And I think a great way to connect is over things like any kind of recreational activities. One thing I miss now that we moved is golf. I used to golf a lot, and we had a great men's group at our golf club. And that was just awesome opportunities to, any time of the day, I could go there and connect with other men. I could go and play golf or cards, or sit down and have a meal with these people. So there's like so much more connection. And I don't know if it's through COVID made it even worse, but we're in so much of a digital world that we're not getting out and making these face-to-face relationships. Some practical things I'm doing to help my relationships is I'm working on being a better communicator. How I'm doing that is focusing on eye contact is one thing. I realized that I have trouble looking at somebody in the eye, and it's not because I'm shifty or trying to deceive it. I don't know. I don't know what it is. So I'm working on eye contact this year, and that's really hard. I'm working on eye contact now with the sideways phone, but it's really hard for me. So I'm focusing on just paying attention to that person that's in front of me and not diverting my attention around to all the other things that you could focus on, or focusing on other people to go talk to if I'm in a room, but focus on like, who is this person I'm talking to? And then asking better questions. And that shows the other person, hey, I heard you, I'm listening to you, I value what you're saying to me. And one cool thing that I've had a thought is to build out my basement to have activities like pool table, maybe darts, foosball, things like that, where I can bring people in to build relationships. And I would call that like a kind of around the dinner table type relationship. And then also that's valuable for my kids and for their friends. When I want to have friends, like I want to have the fun house. You all knew what the fun house was. Where did all the kids congregate? Like I want that to be our house. And that way I have a better relationship with my kids. Our family dynamic is better. And then also, if I have kids that are coming into our house that maybe they're not from the best homes, maybe they don't see houses that are peaceful. They see houses that are in turmoil. They can come here and see, okay, like this is what a loving family looks like. This is what a loving man looks like. This is what a loving woman looks like. This is how you speak with respect to each other. So that's the last thing I'm doing right now. Building relationships. And that's just a few things that I'm working on and thinking about as we head into 2024, these last days of December. So to recap, I'm waging an all-out war on busy. I don't even want it to come out of my mouth that I'm busy. I'm intentional. I'm filling my time intentionally. I'm reviewing 2023. What are my big wins, my big losses? How can I learn from them? How can I do the things that were big wins again? I'm taking massive risk. I'm taking my health seriously, and I'm building meaningful relationships. So what are you doing this year? I want to know what you're doing down in the chat. Don't forget to do all the YouTube things, all the likes and subscribes. We got a lot of interesting things I'm going to be doing this year, from interviews and videos. It's exciting. There's a big risk for me putting myself out there. It's only upward from here. You're getting at the ground floor. Here we go. All right. So see you next time. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Happy New Year. And let's make 2024 the best year yet.